What if the light was really the dark and the dark was really the light? For a long time now, across many cultures, people have pictured the source of creation, God, the divine, whatever you call it, is usually seen as a human figure, usually a man or a king. This is what we're taught. But if you look at some of the ancient texts, you find some clues that point to a different direction. For example, in the Old Testament, the book of Numbers gives us a blunt, powerful statement that challenges this tradition. God is not a man. And when I say that, I don't mean God is a woman, but more that God is not a human. God is not a human. So, if the ultimate source isn't human, what is it? Perhaps we should stop praying to a person and start looking for something much more fundamental. Looking at the New Testament now is another interesting statement. In the book of 1 John, it says very simply, God is light. Now this maybe changes things. Our search for connection moves from traditional religion and theology into the science of energy and physics. If the divine is pure light, then to connect with it, we need to understand how light behaves, how it transmits information, how we are biologically built to receive it. Shifting from looking up at a figure and tuning into a universal power source. So let's talk about light itself. It's not just something that lets you see. Light is made up of tiny packets of energy called photons. You can think of a photon as the universe's ultimate messenger particle. It travels at incredible speed and carries information. Now think about that idea for a second. If the source of life is light, and that light is constantly sending out energetic instruction, then those instructions are carried by photons. It's quite interesting. In some of the ancient traditions, they often called these messengers angels of light. And we've all seen how rapidly technology is changing, right? Even decades ago, we realized that computers that run on light signals, optical computers, would be exponentially faster than the ones we use that run on electricity. Light can carry massive amounts of data in a blink compared to copper wires. Fast forward to today, and we're now looking at quantum light computers. We also have research that has grown into fields like biophotonics, the study of how light interacts with living tissue. It suggests that the photon messenger can actually enter the body and deliver information. Looking across history, almost every significant spiritual system has pointed to one tiny organ, shaped like a pine cone, hidden deep in the center of your brain, the pineal gland. This isn't just spiritual folklore. This is a consistent clue found in texts and philosophy. We look to scripture. Jesus spoke of focus, saying, if your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. Was he teaching us to look beyond the two physical eyes, generally see the physical world, and activate the one internal eye, designed to see the energetic, non-physical world? If we look at Genesis 32:30, Jacob names the location where he had a direct, intense encounter with the divine. Pineal, which literally means face of God. The deep conceptual link between this face-to-face experience and the pineal gland suggests that this organ is symbolically and perhaps literally the point of direct connection. There's a scientific philosopher by the name of René Descartes, brilliant thinker. He was around in the 17th century. You'll probably recognize his quote, "I think, therefore I am." He also developed some of the laws about how light works, which you may remember from school. The angle of incidence and refraction. Interestingly, he concluded that the pineal gland was the seat of the soul. He identified it as the only organ where the non-physical mind and the physical body could meet and interact. We look at the dictionary, we can see that another term for the pineal is epiphysis, which is of course related to the word epiphany, which means a sudden moment of profound insight or revelation. And again, looking to the dictionary, we can see that this refers to the manifestation of Christ. There is a very strong pattern here in scripture, in ancient history and science, all pointing to the pineal gland as a receptor for light-based information. But here's the biggest puzzle of all. If the pineal gland is a light receptor, why does it work best when there is no light? So we know from science that the pineal gland is your body's master time clock. One of its jobs is to release melatonin, which is the hormone that tells your body, okay, it's time to sleep now. So bright light suppresses its function while darkness activates it. So when the sun is shining or you're staring at a bright screen, you are actively suppressing the function of the very organ designed to connect you to the light source. Now the secret here is realizing that the light that I'm talking about, the light that we're seeking here, is not the light you see with your eyes. The light that may be God is an invisible light. It's ultra high frequency energy that our two physical eyes simply cannot register. To see an invisible light, perhaps we must activate the special inner receptor, and the only way to get the pineal gland to fire up and look for that invisible signal is to remove the competing signal, the physical light, by entering the darkness. This explains why across centuries spiritual traditions have always talked about entering a closet, shutting the door, making a room dark. Matthew 6:6, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Psalms 18:11, he made darkness his secret place. So if we look again at that previous statement, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. He made darkness his secret place, which is in darkness. And thy Father which seeth in secret in darkness shall reward thee openly. Perhaps they weren't just asking you to close the door and pray in private, but were giving you precise biological instructions to turn on your inner communication system. This raises a powerful question for us today. Are we simply missing the message because our modern, brightly lit lives are preventing the receiver from activating? This concept of a spiritual or energetic eye in the center of the forehead shows up all over the place. It's almost too consistent to be a coincidence. It suggests different cultures, separated by oceans and centuries, all figured out the same anatomical truth. Well, this is an interesting one. Look at the Eye of Horus. This symbol, one of the most famous from ancient Egypt, which you will no doubt recognize, is a powerful visual representation of protection, of healing, of cosmic harmony, and anatomically, if we superimpose the Eye of Horus onto a cross-section of the human brain, it aligns almost perfectly with the structures around the pineal. In many Hindu and Buddhist traditions, the third eye is the center of intuition, of wisdom, of higher consciousness. It is often seen as a dot or mark on the forehead, pointing directly inward to the location of the pineal gland. And as I mentioned earlier, the pineal gland is shaped like a pine cone, hence the name pine, pineal, P-I-N-E. And the symbolism of this pine cone can also be found in carvings and artwork all throughout history. See this pine cone statue in the Vatican? It really is everywhere. Is all this proof from different cultures, the Egyptians, the Hindus, the Buddhists, Christianity and more, pointing towards the same thing? That this small organ is designed to be the central point of spiritual and energetic focus. Have we somehow lost all of this ancient knowledge? Perhaps there are parties that don't want us to know these things. This universal knowledge is even reflected in the cosmos itself. It's almost as if the architecture of the universe confirms the architecture of your brain and anatomy. When we use modern tools like powerful telescopes, we can see photographs of things like giant space clouds and nebulae that often form shapes that look exactly like our own anatomy. Now, perhaps there's just so much out there that we are bound to find things that look this way coincidentally, but maybe not. Either way, they're pretty amazing to look at. And if the macrocosm, the big picture, the universe, is mirroring the design of your microcosm, your brain, if the universe is built with this single eye architecture, doesn't it suggest that we are meant to be actively using the one built into us? Are we a part of that same cosmic blueprint. So if we have the ancient blueprint and the biological receiver, how do you actually use this system to start flowing in harmony, to rise above all of those lower frequency emotions of fear, shame, guilt, grief, anger? The path, seemingly, is quite simple. It requires intentional practice, and by far, meditation is the best tool for this. Meditation, especially when done in the right environment, is the energetic command that tunes your receiver. To make this focused intention work most powerfully, it would stand to reason that you must create the ideal conditions. Remember the paradox: the pineal gland is activated by darkness, yet it is meant to receive the ultimate light. This is because the divine light is best seen when the physical eyes are useless. The darkness, therefore, is not empty, but is perhaps the secret place where the light is truly revealed. We saw earlier how this concept is reflected across the scriptures. Psalms 18:11 tells us God made darkness his secret place. So maybe the sacred space isn't a brightly lit church, but the quiet, unseen, dark place. The prophet Amos asks why people desire the day of the Lord. Amos 5:20, shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? The most powerful divine moment is perhaps experienced in darkness, where physical distractions are entirely absent. When you meditate in the dark, you activate the pineal gland, maximizing its function, and you enter the secret place, fulfilling the scriptural instruction, when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, in darkness, and thy Father which seeth in secret, in darkness, shall reward thee openly. By combining your focus intention, which is the energetic command, with the darkness, which is the optimal biological state, you tune the receiver, the active pineal gland, that makes that crucial energy exchange with the incoming photons from the divine light. If your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. Now, this is purely speculative, hypothetical, but it raises some really interesting ideas and questions. All that's left is for you to make the choice to try it for yourself. And if you do, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching, and until then, I will see you next time.